Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is a reading of Dear Martin. This book is by Nick Stone, and this is chapter 19. There's not a whole lot Just is sure of these days, but he knows he shouldn't be in this seat at the back of the number 87 bus right now. If it weren't for the newspaper article in his pocket, he'd be studying for finals or hanging out with SJ. But all he's thought about over the past few days is how sad Manny's parents were when they invited him over to tell them they were moving. Doc gave Just a copy of the article about Mr. Julian stepping down the morning it was released. His first thought, instead of Sonia Kittress, the name of the article should be None Your Business. Manny's parents more or less sponsored the Atlanta chapter of the Justice for Jam movement, so of course they participated in the local marches. It wasn't their fault the one they were photographed at overflowed onto the highway, blocking all northbound and southbound lanes. The day the Riverses shared their relocation plans, they also told Just that Mr. Julian had received an ultimatum. Basically, sever all ties with that so-called movement or clear out that corner office, in so many words. Mr. Julian told Just he calmly explained the meaning of civil disobedience before removing his framed degrees from the wall. Just is on the number 87 bus, the final bus in the commute from Oak Ridge to Wynwood Heights, because what Quan said, "There's no escaping the black man's curse," has been echoing in his head since he left the Rivers' house. He has no idea where else to go or who else to turn to. SJ's great, but not for this. And while he could go to Doc, Just doesn't really want to hear any more "stay good, even though the world craps on you" advice. Mama would throttle Just she knew if she knew where he was going. Everybody in the neighborhood knows who Martell is, but frankly, she hasn't been any help lately either. Every time he calls or stops by, she brings up SJ. All Just knows is he's got this bad feeling in his gut, kind of like somebody crawled into his stomach and ran a cheese grater over the inside. He needs to get rid of it somehow. Talk to somebody who gets what he's feeling because they felt it too. You know who gets it? Deuce Diggs. Just has been listening to his music a lot since he woke up without his best friend. There's one track he's had on repeat since the article dropped. Turn on the news, another black man slain. They say, it's okay, save your voice, don't complain. This isn't about race, so stop using that excuse. No, look at this funny picture. Now look at this funny picture of Obama in a noose. See how colorblind we are? You're not really black to me. Underneath, where it matters, we both bleed red, you see? So put away that race card. It ain't 1962. There's no more segregation. Isn't that enough for you? But of course, Just doesn't have access to Deuce Diggs. He can't just call him up and say, hey dawg, I'm feeling what you feeling. Can we talk? Just remembers what Quan said about the neighborhood guys being like family. That Martell would get it. That he'd be welcome if he wanted in. That's really where he's on. That's really why he's on this bus right now. He's sick of feeling alone. The first thing to cross Just's mind as he steps off the bus is the irony of looking for solace in a place where he was anxious to get away from. Hold on, let me get comfy. As someone drives by in a brand new Benz, he also feels a twinge of guilt over refusing to drive his new car to Martell's house. How can he be mad at white people for profiling when he's doing the same damn thing they do? Lock your doors, hide your valuables. He even left Manny's watch at home. This is the stuff that has to be remedied. He hangs a left on Wynwood Street and spots the gunmetal Range Rover Trey said would be in the driveway. Despite it being an older model than the one Manny drove, seeing it makes Just want to make a run for it. He should turn back. He really should. Turn back and go home. to his mahogany desk and school-issued MacBook, but he doesn't. It's not until Just starts up the driveway that he notices the three guys sitting on the porch. Trey is there, plus White Boy Brad and the dude who had the gun during the Halloween disaster. Oh, if it isn't Smarty Pants, Brad says. The gun toter, Just doesn't remember his name, smiles. Sup, Justice, he says. Great to see you, buddy, old pal. The others laugh. Just's eyes immediately drop to the guy's waistband. He can see the bulge of the gun handle beneath dude's shirt. It gives him a chill. He tries to pull himself together. Sup, y'all? They all laugh again. Trey gives Just the same kind of once-over he did at the Halloween party all those months ago. He smiles that sneery, creepy smile and just feels like his guts are about to make an appearance inside his boxer briefs. Trey shouts, "Hey Martell, you got company," over his shoulder at the screen door, and the second Just steps onto the porch, a voice calls out from inside, "Come on in, young brother." Even though his heart is about to explode, Just pulls the door open and enters the house. He's only ever eyed warily due to rumors about all the drugs and guns hidden inside. He follows a short hallway lined with what appeared to be African relics, tribal masks, framed hieroglyphics, and a silhouette painting of Nefertiti. He can tell by the cylindrical headpiece that reminds him of the flat-top haircuts some of the NBA players are trying to bring back. There's similar art all over the walls of the living room. Just as sure this house could win the world record for largest collection of ancient Egyptian paraphernalia. His gaze roams the space until it lands on a youngish, bearded black man in a dashiki shirt and a kufi hat. He's sitting cross-legged in a papasan chair with a kente cloth cushion. Most notable is the black tracking device strapped to his ankle. So this is why dude couldn't meet Just at a coffee shop. "Welcome," the guy says. "You must be Justice." "Yep, that's me." "Martell." He sticks out his hand and Just walks over to shake it. "Pleasure to meet you." "Likewise." Just looks around again and then sticks his hands in his pocket. Though Just has known of the Black Jihad leader since middle school, Martell in person is not what he expected. He honestly had no idea what to say to the guy. The silence is beginning to morph into something straight up menacing. "Cool art." Martell smiles. "I like to surround myself with reminders of ancient Kemet, so the boys and I never forget our imperial roots. You know anything about that?" Just shrugs. "I've studied it a bit, but I don't know a whole lot, sorry." "No need to apologize." Martell tints his fingers beneath his chin. "You'll learn, young brother. You'll learn." The Europeans succeeded in denigrating and enslaving people of African descent, but there's royal blood flowing through your veins, you hear me? Justice nods and swallows. "Yes, sir." People across the diaspora have been treated as inferior for so long. Most of us have habituated to the lie of white superiority. But never forget, Martell goes on, your ancestors survived a transatlantic journey, built this nation from the ground up, and maintained a semblance of humanity even when the very conditions of their existence suggested they were less than human. Jihad is the act of striving, persevering. That is your legacy, young brother. This country belongs to you. As Just listens to Martell's voice, he can feel himself relaxing. He doesn't know if it's the voice itself or what it's saying, or the art, or the incense, or the atmosphere, but something about Martell and his house makes Just feel looser than he's felt in a while. He looks at Martell, who's been watching him, reading him, studying him. He can tell, ever since he stepped into the room. And yeah, Martell does get it. Quan said Just would be welcome, and that's exactly how he feels. The disarming effect gives him vertigo. "So, what can I do for you, Justice?" Martell asks. Before he knows it, Just is telling Martell all the stuff he can't talk to anyone else about. How it felt to be profiled, the Martin experiment, and how it failed, how alone he's felt, and how furious he is, how much he misses his homeboy. Martell listens intently, stroking his beard, lowering his eyes when Just gets to Manny's death, narrowing them when he hears about Mr. Julian's job. By the time Just finishes getting it all out, he's sprawled on his back across the giant ankh at the center of Martell's Egyptian rug. He feels empty, in a good way. Martell gets up without a word and disappears into what must be the kitchen. Just lets his head fall to the left. That's when he sees the sawed-off shotgun tucked beneath the edge of the coffee table. It smacks him like a battering ram. He shouldn't be here. No matter how chill Martell seems, the dude is a criminal. Hello, house arrest, Anklet? Those guys outside? They're the same ones who threatened to shoot Manny's old friends. What the hell is Just doing here? There's a tap on his foot, so Just looks up. Martell is squatting beside him with a glass in hand. Just sits up and takes a drink. The first gulp is too big. He doesn't know why he didn't expect the thing to be alcoholic. He coughs at what feels like the flames of hell as the flames of hell run down his esophagus, through his chest and into his stomach. Martell laughs. Just can tell it's a laugh of delighted amusement. It makes sense that the neighborhood guys without dads flock to Martell. So, the illusion wore off, huh? Seeing some truth now, he says. Just nods, and that feeling of defeat returns to his chest now that the fire from the liquor is gone. You ready to strike back? Justice knew this question would come. What he isn't ready for, though, is the fear that seems to have elbowed its way in front of his fury. Is he ready to strike back? It's definitely not what Manny would want. But the reason he's even here is because Manny is gone. Justice looks up at Martell. There's no anxiety in this dude's face. No pressure, no fear. Just lifts his glass to his lips again. Trey bursts in the room with the gun guy and white boy Brad on his heels. Yo, check this out, he says, passing a cell phone to Martell. They all crowd around. Brad, that's the fool you punched at the Halloween party, right? With the KKK stuff on? Gun guy asks. Yep, Brad says, that's him. Homeboy says you whooped his a few months ago, Justice. Martell hands Just the phone. There, in big, bold letters, above a picture of Blake Benson, Justice McAllister, violent past. A former victim speaks out. Dang, smarty pants, Trey says, shaking Justice's shoulder. Didn't know you had it in you. Hell yeah, bruh, from the gun guy. You scrap like this, dude. Say you do, you can roll with us anytime. For real, you more like us than I realized, Brad says. That does it for Justice. I gotta go. He scrambles to his feet and makes a break for the door, refusing to turn around when they call out after him. Let him go, he hears from Martell on the way out. All right, that's the end of chapter 19. Make sure you subscribe.